Good evening and welcome to the Gabba for the big clash between the Collingwood Magpies on the road visiting the Brisbane Lions. Both teams have had a tough time of it so far in 2016. In fact, only 3 wins exist between these two teams in the first 7 rounds. And I welcome one of Brisbane's all-time greats, Alistair Lynch. Both teams sorely need a win.
They certainly do. I suppose expectations were a lot higher for the Collingwood Football Club, but they've had a plethora of injuries. Form to some of their key players has certainly been down as well, but they need a win tonight. They've been on the road, got out of that fishbowl of Melbourne, and a big opportunity for them tonight up here at the Gabba.
We have a look inside the Collingwood rooms here. They sit in 14th position with 2 wins, 8 points to their credit, and a lowly percentage, as you could understand. And the Brisbane Lions have been a little stiff on a couple of occasions, well performed for how we thought and anticipated their season was going to go. They're in 16th position with the 4 points against their name. But Collingwood have been the talk of the town in the newspapers, in the rag world, just about how they're going and how much pressure they are under at the moment. And their current game, they seem to be struggling with the new style of football in holding the ball in the front end.
Well, they certainly don't defend well. We saw in their forward 50 they're struggling, ranked 10th for scores from that area against, and in their full offensive mid-zone, ranked 11th. Defensive mid-zone, a little bit better, ranked at 7. But this is where the real problem is. If we go back to the defensive 50, now once teams get the ball back there, they're slicing through. So opposition coaches know that they concede uncontested marks. Handball receives are very big back in that area of the ground, and then that transitions into scores at the other end. We see the example from a fast-running St Kilda at the MCG, so a lot of space. They use the ball quickly by hand and by foot out of the half-back line, and that transition to the goals at the other end. So that is the big opportunity for the Brisbane Lions. At their best, they're quick.
We look at the Melbourne game here. Now, that's a slow play. Coming out of the back flank, admittedly, Hogan took a wonderful contested mark there, but thereafter, the roll downhill is something Collingwood have just not been able to contain.
No, they haven't been, and they've got a couple of their key defenders have been out, so again, with form and injury, so that is an issue, the contested marks. But the KPI we want to watch tonight is uncontested marks against for Collingwood and handball received for the Brisbane Lions. If those numbers are high, that's where Collingwood are going to be in a lot of trouble. And they've got some really good speed back into the side, and some of the speed for the Brisbane Lions is really quick.
That's salt into the wound of any Collingwood supporter, isn't it? A walk-in goal to the Blues. As we have a look at the Brisbane lineup here, well, not the lineup, the players coming out onto the ground for their pre-match warm-up. Big Stephen Martin on screen. But I've been really impressed over the last few weeks with their, what do we call them, mosquito fleet. Their small brigade, their on-ball brigade have been winning plenty of the footy. They just need to team it all together for a full match.
Well, that's the thing, and Stephen Martin at his very best is one of the elite ruckmen in the competition. It didn't exactly pan out that way last week against Port Adelaide, and he's had a few problems. You know, obviously, I don't think he's actually been back to his best since he had that concussion about 3 weeks ago here at the Gabba.
That midfield will have to contend with one of the greats of the modern era in Scotty Pendlebury, and he is with one of the greats from yesteryear, Cam Mooney.
Well, Scotty, sometimes it is fantastic just to get away from the hustle and bustle of Melbourne. Is that what it's like with this group at the moment?
Yeah, it's certainly, good to get away and travel with this group and, come up to Brisbane where it's not so footy focused and, just get away as a real tight group, and hopefully tonight we put in a really good effort.
You've been around a long time. You've seen ups and downs, obviously, at the footy club, and you're the skipper of this club. What about yourself? I mean, what do you take control of during the week with this group?
This week, I think, like any week, I think guys can get caught up in worrying about too much stuff, and you just got to make sure you train hard. And when things aren't going, well, it usually comes down to how you're training. So we've had a really good week of training on the track, and led by the leadership group and the senior guys, and hopefully it translates into a win tonight.
What about Brisbane? We know they're a much better side up here than they are away. What are you expecting?
Yeah, they're obviously really strong around that midfield, and we watched a bit of the game against Sydney where they went down by 3 points, and their midfield's really dominant. They run hard both ways, so it's going to be on in there.
Really appreciate your time, mate. Good luck.
Thanks, Moons.
Thank you very much there, mate. He's a very relaxed character, Moons. He gets the best out of everybody. He
certainly does.
And another bloke who can get the best out of people is our own Anthony Hudson, and he is with Dane Beams.
Well, it's great to have Dane Beams back playing footy. You must have enjoyed getting out there again last week despite the result.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Obviously, mixed injuries, shoulder and knee, so I think in total it's about 7 or 8 months of being on the sidelines and in rehab, so it was nice to be back out there playing footy and doing what I love, I guess.
And you got plenty of it. Obviously, as I said, the result wasn't great, but it must have been good to not just be playing, but actually, find the footy a fair bit.
Yeah, I went into the game with no expectations of myself. I was just, enjoying the fact that I was back out playing again, and whatever I did was a bonus, I guess. So, disappointing result team-wise, but on a personal level, it was good to get through and good to get a bit of the footy, like you said.
Feels like a big match tonight. Obviously, a huge one for you guys, and you play much better footy at home and up against your old team again.
Yeah, so it's like you said, we do play better footy here at the Gabba, so for whatever reason that is, but if we want to get to be the team that we want to be, we have to start performing away from home. But first things first, we've got Collingwood out here tonight, so hopefully we can get the result that we want. What
do you need to do you think, to win? I mean, there's not just your fans, but there's probably a fair few fans out there who like to see Collingwood struggling. So it does make a big game. What do you need to do to win?
It starts with the contest stuff, so we just got to get him on top in that area. Centre bounce last week, we were murdered, so we've done a lot of work on it this week, so hopefully we can rectify that this week. And I guess if you win that first, then obviously that gives you the best chance to get your contest stuff right, and that contested ball number is usually that number that you sort of look at to win games, and if you're up in that area, you're generally winning.
Well, great to see you out there again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate.
Dane Beams, one of the stars back in the lineup for the Brisbane Lions over the past couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. Hello, we welcome into the conversation our Cam Mooney once again. The three most consistently best midfielders in Brisbane. They struggle to get them all out on the park at once, guys.
Well, we see there since the start of 2015, only 3 times that they've actually played together, Lynchy, which is it's such a shame when you talk about the 3 best midfielders. Hanley, we know he's had his injuries. Rockcliffe now goes back out of the side after just coming back in, and Beams just coming in. They lose Rockcliffe. It just hasn't been able to work from you. But they just haven't been able to get that consistency through the middle of the ground.
And certainly it is the most experienced part of the ground for the Brisbane Lions, and that transitions into poor clearances, poor contested ball through the middle of the ground. And we saw that last week. They were smashing the clearances. If they're competitive, they're right in the game. So they really need their on-ballers, a bit of continuity training and playing together, and they'll be right in it.
One of the easy things to do when you're tipping this year is tip whoever the Lions are playing against when they're away from home. At home, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? They are actually quite well performed here. Haven't been getting over the line, Moons, but their numbers are significantly better.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've been lucky enough to watch them up here over the last few years, and they are such a better side at the Gabba, Lynchy. We know that than away. Away, they look really horrible and lost at times, but here they get this crowd behind them, and they do look like a different side up here.
Yeah, and probably the main culprits is like Pierce Hanley, Daniel Rich. They play really good football here. We know that Green on the outside, Louis Taylor, comes back in tonight as well. But the player that's playing the best through the midfield is Dane Zorko, and he's very suited to these sort of conditions. He's low, he's quick, he crumbs the ball very well. This is the talking point, Derm, from last week. This is the real concern against Port Adelaide. Dominated the hit-outs. 75% of the hit-outs went to Stephen Martin or the Brisbane Lions, but they didn't get the ball at ground level. First possessions heavily in favour of Port Adelaide, likewise with the clearances, and the points from stoppages, 63-3. Yeah. The big difference was Stephen Martin, as I said, I don't think he's come back from that concussion real well. His second efforts to get clearances himself are right up there at his best. It was Trengove last week, so hopefully, for Brisbane's sake, Stephen Martin is getting the clearances.
And he's a ruckman who will scamper after the footy. We just had to walk out there, Moose. He's getting a lot of dew falling on the ground.
It's amazing. Like an hour ago, it was beautiful. Yeah. Just in the last hour, half an hour, it's just all of a sudden become quite slippery out there, Lynchy.
So he's quite the scrapper, Stephen Martin. It might suit him down on the deck as well. Well, Nathan Buckley, he is looking for a win. His team needs it. His club needs it. His players need it. We'll find out if he can do it on the other side of the break.
Well, the pressure's certainly on the Magpies this week in the media after their loss to Carlton, but who knows? Maybe a trip away will be just the tonic for them to get another victory on the board as they prepare to take on Brisbane, and the Lions also desperate for a win. And here's their coach, Justin Lethbridge, with Alistair Lynch.
Thanks for joining us, Lepper. The last couple of weeks have been almost polar opposites. Very good against the Sydney Swans, disappointing last week. Now, you were really disappointed with the midfield. What did you address this week about that?
Mostly clearance work, really, and the contested stuff around it. A little bit was in smarts as well as just the hardness around the ball. I thought Port just a bit more cleverness around the footy as well. So, look, we've addressed some things but we need to be good at centre square bounce tonight to give us a chance.
So in saying that, Sydney form was good back at the Gabba. Do you come in with this game confident you can win?
Oh, we do every week. Yeah. I mean, we always plan. I'm sure Bucks is doing the same, putting plans against us that if they put in place they'll do well, and vice versa. It's really tonight for us, it's about keeping our home form intact. We've been playing some good footy here, so we just have to continue that. Now, Collingwood, they've had their ups and downs and probably struggled for most part of the year. What do you see as their major strength going into this game? What can hurt the Lions? Well, they've got 3 or 4 stars in their team still. I mean, obviously for Salas, he can kick very quick amount of goals in a short period, so we have to stop his dominance, and Pendlebury and Trill are obviously fantastic offensive players as well, so there's some weapons there that we have to look at. No worries, all the best tonight. Thanks, Al. Thanks, mate. Cheers, mate.
So a big night for both coaches, not just Nathan Buckley but also Justin Lepich, and the good news is that they've been much better, as they talked about here at home, the form we saw them. Unfortunately, Tom Rockcliffe not out there, but we certainly saw them play some good footy against the Sydney Swans just a fortnight ago, and been a lot of conversation, and the boys were mentioning in the first break about how well they've played at home compared to on the road. Their losses on the road have been heavy. 64 points against West Coast, 69 against Geelong, 53 against the Bulldogs, and 77 against Port Adelaide last week, despite a good start. But at home, they've had that terrific win against Gold Coast when they really could have won by a lot more. So the home crowd will have high expectations, and came so close to beating the Sydney Swans just a couple of weeks ago. So, and even against North Melbourne, they were certainly respectable. And it's the home crowd just starting to make a bit of noise. We are expecting a good crowd. Collingwood always a high-drawing crowd, no matter what the situation with both clubs in the ladder. As David Brereton has joined us once again from downstairs. He's come back up into the commentary position. There's the changes. The late change was Green coming into the team for McStay. It is unfortunate. Merritt and Taylor are back, that's good, but Rockcliffe not out there. And, of course, Harris Andrews with a foot injury is a worry as well.
Yeah, well, Harris Andrews has been quite a consistent feature in the back line for the Brisbane Lions, so that wasn't great for them at the start, but Daniel McStay's proven for them, even though he's still in the infancy of his career, he can swing to either end. They don't do it in-game, but week in, week out, they can change him from one end to the other, so they lose a little bit of mobility in that regard as well.
Can their midfield that was so disappointing last week really get a run on, as they love to do here at home, and do some damage? Or will it be Nathan Buckley, who's been under so much pressure? Some of the coasts of the past have been brought up with a changeover from Mick Malthouse during the week. All that he'll be hoping to put behind him, and there's nothing like a win to get it done. We're not far away from the bounce. Stay with us here. Big night of footy, Saturday night footy at the Gabba.
We need to harden up as a playing group, we need to harden up as a coaching group, and we need to harden up as a club.
I think it's now time for Nathan Buckley to start hitting some blokes between the eyes, because that effort is disgraceful.
For the first time in my time at the club, we're picking and choosing a little bit on the field, and you can't win games of footy when you're like that.
At the end of the day, it's all about your wins and losses, and Nathan's won 4 of his last 18. That just doesn't stack up.
So you're going to get judged on the win-loss ratio then?
And I welcome that.
Do you have the security for that? This is a team that might only win 5 games. That's the walk to the guillotine.
Well, you might not be judging us on wins and losses, but everyone else is, and everyone else will. That's the caper. You can say walk to the guillotine. I'm saying that's the road you have to travel.
If you're on the board at Collingwood right now, would you be questioning whether Nathan Buckley can coach?
If they genuinely thought they were playing finals this year, I'd be really concerned.
Is your confidence waning?
Not at all. Not at all.
Incredible pressure on Nathan Buckley and this Collingwood team as they hit the Gabba on a Saturday night. The next stop on the road is the Brisbane Lions. Some welcome inclusions, particularly in Travis Varco and Taylor Adams. Ben Sinclair handy as well. But Ben Reid is a big out, Derm, isn't he?
Huge out. Huge out. Look, he gets the ball travelling through the air by foot, so he's very good on the outward bound ball. He doesn't run it, but he can get the ball piercing the air. But what he also does in the big man department down back, he organises all around him. He's gone now, and the job falls to young Jack Frost to actually shout commands at other people. I don't know whether he commands enough respect yet for that, but I'm sure he'll give his all, but big loss with Reid not there.
Let's hear from the coach, Nathan Buckley, once again, and he's with Cameron Mooney.
Well, Bucks, thanks for joining us. Has been one of those seasons so far. Start off with, how are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can produce tonight. We've had a really good week of prep, and yeah, this is when it matters.
Is it one of those weeks where it's just been really good to get the group away from outside of Melbourne?
We only came up yesterday. We had a couple of solid training sessions on an 8-day break. There was a bit of an edge about the way we went about it, and we've really just focused on the things in our control, and we're looking forward to the contest.
What about a couple of really good inclusions in Varco and Adams tonight?
Yeah, and Sinclair. We some legs in those three, and some pace outside in particular, which we've missed through the last month in particular. So we've got the right people. We just need to see a four-quarter performance.
What about Brisbane? You've seen them up here plenty of times. I'm sure they are a different team when they play up here, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and any team on their day is going to really worry you. So we're not underestimating what they're capable of, and if any time you give the opposition what they want, it can hurt you. So we've got to take that away.
Thanks for your time, mate. Good luck tonight. Good on you.
Typical Nathan Buckley, steely determination. So what a match we're looking forward to, and who better to give us the keys to the game than two champion forwards, Dermot Brereton and Alistair Lynch. You first, Derm.
Well, you touched on it a second ago. This bloke has an enormous responsibility now. He's got to take one of the Joshes, probably even Josh Shackey, who's a beautiful kick and will need less opportunity than Josh Walker. So without Ben Reid there, the number one job of organising all around him and just quelling that back line, making them feel comfortable, falls to Jack Frost. It's a huge task for him, even against a team which is placed 16. And so he's getting some encouragement there from Harty. He knows the task ahead.
I think certainly from my point of view, side bottom is the key for Collingwood. I think he's gone to another level. He's class. He's averaging 27 disposals. I think tonight he needs to hit the targets inside 50. From a Brisbane Lions point of view, there's a bit too big a gap at the moment between his best and his worst, Pearce Hanley. His best is elite in the competition, but he drops away to a very low output. So I think if they can stop him, Collingwood will be right in the game. If Hanley can get a lot of the ball, very much Brisbane are on the way to winning.
Watching the toss of the coin as the skippers for the night. Dane Zorko's won the toss and will be kicking to the right of screen when the action gets underway. Let's get the view to the keys to the game from another star forward and a very busy Cameron Mooney. Moons.
Thank you, Hutto. Yeah, beautiful night down here. As we know, as we talked about a little bit earlier, it is a little bit dewy on the grass, but that's just a normal Queensland night, but it is absolutely a beautiful night for football. Look, my key to the game tonight is this man for Collingwood, for Alex Fastolo, having the best start to his career in the year at the moment. I mean, he's kicked 18 goals. He kicked 27 last year. He's already up to 18, and he's a guy that can get the ball in the air or on the ground. And with their young, inexperienced forward line, only Moore is the only other guy in double figures for goals. This guy really needs to have a big night. And we talk about Zorko. He's a barometer of this football club. Every time I see them and they see them play well up here, it's usually on the back of Zorko. He is an absolute jet. He's probably one of the best small half forwards in the business who can push onto the ball. He's averaging about 25 possessions for the year already, 7 tackles and just under a goal and a half a game. So once he gets up and going, he really does get this Gabba crowd going behind him.
Yeah, thank you, Moons. You'd have to think Dane Zorko probably leading their best and fairest at this stage at Brisbane. Fasolo, 10th best goal kicker in the competition coming into this round.
He's an exciting player. He'll play a very vital role because the ball will spend a fair bit of time on the ground in the fourth half. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Steph Martin gets started in this game. I just think he's really struggled.
There's a little bit of biffo already, Lynchy.
There's a little bit happening, is there?
Forward, they're into it.
Well, that is a fair bit of attention going on there. Unusual to see Daniel Merritt in the middle of that. So good to see the big men starting to exchange a bit of physicality. But Steph Martin in the middle of the ground, can he spread from the contest to expose the big ruckman for Collingwood? And likewise, can Pearce Hanley from a Brisbane point of view. But we know the class of the midfield of Collingwood. Pendlebury, side bottom, and Treloar. Treloar needs to hit more targets inside 50 as well.
Always one of the biggest fixtures in Queensland is when Collingwood come to visit Brisbane. The history goes back to the grand finals. There's always been a bit of tension there. Both sides not at the right end of the ladder, but so much on the line tonight. Warm night in Brisbane. We're ready to go. Round 8 action from the Gabba. the Lions and the Magpies, and it's go from the middle of the ground. Grundy up early, but Martin got the tap and sets Robinson away, and it's the Lions who will attack, but Jeremy Howe, who went back into defence last week, and it's probably the most comfortable he's looked so far this year in his short period of time with the Pies. Takes the mark there and sends them on their way out to the wing. Taylor Adams certainly a welcome return. Brisbane crowd saying deliberate. I think the umpire might agree.
Cam Mooney early to cross down to you, but Darcy Gardner came off his man, then just didn't time it right. If that had knocked clean to White, they were away.
I think the other one we're seeing with Gardner is he's gone straight to Fasolo and basically just giving him a hard time from the word go. So look out for that one tonight.
I think that one's been said all week. Just go out. He is a very physical defender, is Darcy Gardner.
It was a dangerous handball from Beams, but it comes off all right, and Gardner does end up with a footy, taking a very wide path to goal, and under all sorts of pressure. And it was good pressure, and Nathan Buckley talked about the return of Ben Sinclair. And side bottom, now a slide along the wing with Blair, who's found some form in the last few weeks. Not the best of kicks, but it's all okay with DeGoey and Pendlebury and Treloar and side bottom again. All starting to come together for the Pies. Fasolo shut down quickly. Harwood lend a hand. It's still not dead yet, though, as far as the Pies are concerned. Hanley was handy, and Beams scraps it. Oh, it's 2
on the boundary. Didn't all go to the outside, so it's still in.
Stayed in. Greenwood can't quite make the fist of it he would have liked. Side bottom been prominent already. A wobbly one, tough to mark that. Big fellow, the big American Cox was there, slinging handball back from White. DeGoey, it was almost a drop kick, gets away with it.
Got the barrel.
What a kick it was, too, to Leicester's advantage. And you could already see the greasy conditions there. Players just having to be a little bit careful with their foot to ground as Martin goes short, hoping that Christensen could win the ball. He did, but he was surrounded, encircled by Pies, and they scramble and trample all over him. And eventually Big Grundy fights out a good draw with Zorko.
Midfielders from both teams working hard. Just see this bounce from Beams. Did it go over the line? It was off the foot. You're spot on, Derm. Good call. Not all over the line.
DeGoey. It is a congested action so far. Treloar. Sleight of hand. Oxley couldn't get it anywhere. Robinson. Much quieter last week than he's been for the rest of the season. Treloar's on his bike, getting inside 50. Cox might let that one pass and hits the post.
The midfielders starting to get their hands on the ball already at this early stage, and certainly Treloar with 4 side bottoms up there. Pendlebury very important. So the 3 midfielders we spoke about were very much in the game for the Pies.
Dropped short, but well judged by Shackey, getting up to lend a hand at half back. Gave it to Christensen, who said thanks for that. Not quite sure what to do with it. So you can have it back. Beams. Third in the chain of handballs, and each handball they got closer and closer to the mire, and eventually it's out of bounds.
Well, that's where we spoke about pre-game, the ability to defend teams when they bounce out of the defensive 50, and on that occasion the midfield really hung in there. So I think both midfields, they don't defend overly well, so that is going to be a real KPI for tonight for both coaches.
Robinson at the stoppage, very close attendance to Scott Pendlebury. So we'll see whether that's something that continues for the night. Collingwood skipper in very good form in the last few weeks. 34 disposals last week. Frustration for Dane Beams, who was scooting away against his old team. Would love to have sent them into attack, but instead free kick to side bottom. And Treloar again, his 5th disposal already.
It would have been frustrating for Simon Black as well in the coach's box.
It's a good matchup.
And beautifully judged by Moore. Takes the Howe kick very well.
Yeah, that hand over there just exposed Harwood with a much more athletic and taller Moore. So good separation and good use into the forward 50. They look a lot cleaner so far, the Pies. They need to capitalise on their good work.
10 goals, 2 for the season. Under the tutelage of Ben Dixon down there, kicking for goal.
I just think their intensity's been pretty good in the first few minutes here, Colin. I mean, you would expect it after the rollicking they've received in the press over the last 7 days or so. That'll come back a fraction, not enough. And you know they're going to come out. So the Lions have to actually, if anything, even play a little slow here. Try and take some heat out of the game and hopefully grind down and finish off the match better than the Magpies. But don't concede too much damage early on in this first quarter.
Martin looked likely, and his follow-up work was great. Leicester wasn't quite ready to get the reflexes going, and Beams didn't help Rich's calls all that much either. Eventually they sorted out. Just numbers of players handballing and running on, multiplying by the split-second. Walker the next to give. Leicester, it just seems to be a mantra to handball, like Ron Barassi in 1970 grand final.
Well, and that is where Collingwood have got hurt. The handball receives for the opposition. It slides through. And just see jumps here.
Coccyx. This hurts a lot.
Almost accidental tunnelling.
7 kicks and 19 handballs so far for Brisbane. And they haven't got the ball now, but Sinclair giving them dash. Pies, the temptation of an open goal square. Wouldn't mind having that shot again.
With bottom teams, and with respect, these two are bottom teams at the moment, we see the reward for effort. If you don't make the most of your effort in the early stages, and you concede a goal the other way, it can be energy sapping.
Well, they can't get it out of there at the moment, Brisbane, can they?
No, I think they're probably looking to go shorter than these long kicks and actually get those uncontested marks right up.
Frost pats it back. Again, side bottom and Pendlebury involved, and Blair forced wide with Oxley. And the kick from side bottom, no margin for error. Hanley had a good look at it, takes it out of bounds.
One-on-one inside defensive 50 then the Lions. So it was the matchups that Nathan Buckley would have wanted. They have been, when the ball's in the middle of the ground, they've been pulling, Brisbane Lions have been pulling Sam Mays away from the stoppage to be one extra inside or on a bounce of that 50-metre arc.
Travis Varco, another player, welcome back into the team. He looked damaging in the pre-season, had done 2 hamstrings so far, but he's back this week. Howe didn't look pretty, and the result wasn't all that good either. Oxley straight through the hands of Smith. On the charge, though, Howe tries to rectify the situation. Not sure it was perfectly struck, but it was bang on the chest of Jesse White.
They'll certainly take that, and Jesse White, local Brisbane boy before he went down to Sydney, and whoever shot again, give the opportunity for the Pies to kick their first goal. A bit scrappy, but they looked to transition the ball from one side into the open space. As you said, Hutto was pretty ugly, but it got there in the end.
So Jesse White, who's played plenty of footy in the VFL, back in defence, but
good strike.
Started forward last week and fisted through for a behind. He's kicked 2 goals, 2 for the season in his 2 games.
Now again, we touched on that reward for effort. Inside 50 is a 7-1. Disposal count 41-28. So every stat well in favour of the Pies at the moment, but the scoreboard doesn't reflect it.
Well, they just can't get it out of defence and give themselves to have an opportunity to go inside 50, Brisbane. Beams looking for something at the back of the pack. He got it. But Merritt better watch out. He was oblivious initially to Cox.
Stay over it.
There was some talk. Mays goes back. Remedies the situation pretty nicely. Beams. It was a bit of a jazzy handball. Didn't come to much as far as Brisbane are concerned, but Maynard liked his chances. And he hits the post.
They're dodging several bullets at the moment, Brisbane. I'm surprised they continue to persist with the long bomb kick, the sort of dump kick out. I think that 35-metre pass, just to split it up with uncontested mark, then give the option to go. So with this, he's either going to chip it to himself or just go 55 long.
Well, I'm sure they're going out to the left-hand side on that picture. There's no one out to the right.
Just hacking it out of there, Bastadak. Now Shaki gets a chance. Got the better of the bounce, and he's kicked that one off the right boot, just trying to shape it up, tickling it up, trying to, at least was Taylor, but instead it's the Pies side bottom, and they're steady through Varco, and now Crisp, another playing against his old team tonight. Moore, look at it open up on this side. There was no one here, especially as far as Brisbane were concerned. And the big man, Grundy and Cox, collaborate for a goal, which finally comes after 9 minutes.
They are outplaying Brisbane in every facet of the game at the moment. Side bottoms had a lot of the boys up to 8 disposals, but their run-off halfback has been a lot better than we've seen in previous weeks. Not that it's been down there too much, but they've tried to switch it over, get into clear space, and Big Cox has just lumbered out the back. And what was really good, he's run from the stoppage and tried to push forward on Steph Martin.
Well, he's shown the knack that he can get a goal a game so far.
It was well done. He did super well to run to the spot and get the goal, but it was one of the more ungraceful receives, turn and goals you'll see for an open goal.
Hey, you're not complaining right now.
No, not at all.
First goal kicker of the night, Buick. Brisbane have to respond. And
good spoil.
Frost just climbing high to do what he had to do. Crisp, the little give. And he has to go again with help from DeGoey.
Not to mention, someone in the crowd would have worn that Sharon right between the eyes. I think it came in that hard. Just well on Brisbane, guys, and you're spot on. One, they need to start controlling the game, but they're just playing everything around the boundary at the moment, Lynchy, and they're not giving themselves any chance in their forwards because they're having to push right up the ground to give a contest, and they've got no numbers back inside 50, and that's when they're turning it over, and you see Collingwood going back through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, that's right. They've been cut to pieces at the moment. They're just hanging on barely at the moment. So I think Justin Leppard should be really concerned that he gave a rock to his midfield last week, but they haven't responded as yet.
Crisp just got it out of there. Difficult to contain by Harwood. Oh, that could have been in danger against Varco. Harwood batted up pretty well. Beams, Clay Beams, sends it Walker's way. And 4 pies to contest. They should have some numbers at ground level, Brisbane, because there was Collingwood players everywhere in the air. And here now, Lewis Taylor, not once, but twice. Oh, into the clear. And a third time he has to go again. He was getting dizzy and he gave it up to Treloar. And now they're away, the Pies.
If he had got up and smothered Treloar's kick, that would have been the greatest passage of play ever.
Moore able to dab it out to the wing, and young Smith has shown an ability to win the football, averaging 23 disposals. Josh Smith, 22-year-old.
A lot more composed with the ball, Collingwood, the way they've used it.
Keeps that low along the line. Tough for Crocker, and he gets some assistance from White. Almost got undressed there, but he got the handball through to Pendlebury. Skies it high for Solo. Oh, he was getting that excited as the ball came in. He was going to take a skyscraper, he just couldn't do it.
He was picking the colour of the car he wanted then.
He just missed the back. He's missed Mitch Robinson for a massive catch.
It's one of those ones, I think he had too much time to think about it, boy.
Right,
Cox trying to farm it down to a host of Magpies that were waiting. Bell did the job as far as the Lions are concerned, and Robinson again skies it out of defensive 50 and beyond to the wing. Sinclair will get there to track it down. Had Leicester approaching, and now Green from the side, but he uses Howe to keep it in Collingwood hands.
One thing I'm noticing when the ball gets to the midfield, and you called it that they're going around the boundaries, Brisbane have no small man representation when there is a spill on the wing. Collingwood outnumber them, but there is no small crummers in or around that wing area where they're having to dump out and long.
Yeah, I think they're actually back across half back, so they probably need to go short by foot.
And that's what they were trying to do by hand first up.
Taylor Adams spears the pass in, and that allowed Paparone to get a good view. In fact, it's Darcy Gardner.
Now, they're stagnant. There's no movement ahead, so he's actually forced to go short, which I don't think is a bad thing, but they still need movement. Players, and Daniel Merritt's frustrated. He's calling a ruckman across for the bailout kick.
Mitch Robinson's going to have to fly for this.
Oh, this is not good play.
Leicester grabbed the jumper, but it fell to Collingwood's hands anyway. Treloar, little give to Smith, and Jesse White consents an opportunity for a big goal for the Pies. And it clips the post, and they continue to relentlessly pepper the goals here. 1 goal, 6-12. Brisbane, nothing.
Well, it wasn't just poor play, it was very ordinary play. To actually kick long to where you're outnumbered, about 4-2, 5-2, it was always going to come back.
It was poor by his teammates, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Lazy. The work rate ahead is certainly dropped away already.
This is diabolical for Brisbane. Not yet on the scoreboard, but the way they're playing, Treloar punches it up. Darcy Moore could just jump up over the pack. Oh, let it go! Big long goal from Adam Treloar, and the Pies finally getting some reward for their dominance.
Right now, quarter time is still the best part of 10 minutes away. It can't get there quick enough, because I'm sure that this is... there's players out there for Brisbane, the intent's all right, nice. They're not getting to the ball. The structure is not allowing them to be where the ball's going to, or getting it back off the opposition.
Yeah, I think that's the result of a great play from Collingwood. Poor work rate from Brisbane. They are not working anywhere near hard enough, and the guns for Collingwood's midfield are flying.
Cox and Walker taking their turns in the ruck. Hanley again, sloppy little handball, giving it straight back to the Pies. Chris, Pendlebury, and they're up to the 50. Met well by Harwood. Again, greasy ball to try and negotiate. Held without it.
Now, this will be a fair indication of whether they actually intend to work. Need an option square. Don't need to be just bailing out. So they find an option wide, they find that one. But you need players laterally offering something, a short pass.
They've just buried their ball movement right out on that wing, haven't they, consistently so far?
Well, Hanley's looking for an option. Now he's going to be forced to go long. That's nowhere.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. Daniel Merritt was side on to that, but 70 metres on the other flank, unusable. But if he's out there by himself, it means there's 18 Collingwood players in the game and only 17 Brisbane players.
Yep.
Tuvey down the line again, hunting for more. Merritt did what he could. Pendlebury, sweet strike towards full forward. And free goes to Paparone.
Now we get a look and see if they're willing to run away from Paparone. He'll go for the handball around the back, probably. That's manned up. So Collingwood's press is pretty good on them, and it's not so much a press. It's a man-on-man scenario and just denying easy targets.
Ben Keys gets involved in his third game of AFL footy. Back to Robinson. Hooks it along the wing, looking for someone to run onto it, but that someone is going to be a Collingwood player, Taylor Adams, and now Cox and Tuvey.
Played that well.
Just smart, relatively clean footy. Keep it in again. Blair for Pendlebury. All the groundwork done, and the pass on the chest of Darcy Moore. And it's a little more than a training exercise at the moment.
Exactly. On Thursday nights, we used to have a three-quarter pace training, just so you didn't get hurt, and that's what it looks like from the Brisbane Lions at the moment. They are going at three-quarter pace. Collingwood are doing it easy. Side bottom 9, Treloar 9, Pendlebury 9.
Inside 50s, Lynchy. Brisbane Lions 4, Collingwood 16. This is a smack. They're almost getting 1 point for every time they go inside.
Yeah. Well, they need to fully capitalise the Pies. They're just starting to in the last few minutes. And a little bit more now. That one's on the way. And Darcy Moore hits the scoreboard.
Now it's starting to get ugly. That reward for effort we spoke about. Contested possessions, always one of the key indicators that we look at, being dominated by Collingwood. They're used to the ball, their composure when with ball in hand, and that was Pendlebury. I mean, he does it week in, week out, but he had enough time and space to just put a 35-metre pass, lace out in front of the leading forward. They're doing it very easily. So good signs for the Pies. Really bad ones for the Lions.
They need to win some contested footy, Brisbane, or this game will be over before quarter time. They've got 7 minutes to start to win some contested footy.
Grundy, his ruck work and hit out to advantage numbers have fallen away over the past couple of years. And he's been in the thick of it tonight. Straight to it again. It's going one way, and that way is Collingwood's way. Jesse White sets himself to mark, and nothing was going to stop him there. And nothing could.
The paint will be coming off the Lions coach's box, and I think there is no way that Nathan Buckley is going to be relaxed, but he'll be content that his team's actually hit the field up and running. They seem to have embraced the style of play they want to execute, and they're doing it really well.
So I mentioned Jesse White kicked 2 goals last week from just inside the 50. With Travis Cloak still not forcing his way back into the team. He'd love to make some hay and kick some goals.
See, Mason Cox there, he actually drew 4 defenders jumping against him to spoil.
Now, once again, forced down the line. They didn't even look laterally then to switch it up square. There was no movement, but once again, the bailout kick doesn't work.
It's just a high skied ball about 40 metres down the line. Buick and now Bell. Can he add some physical assistance to his teammates and some grunt to this Brisbane team? Again, just a hack kick Bastanak.
That's their best kick.
Yeah, and it's gone to Walker. Now Shaki off the left boot, shapes the kick, outnumbered, and certainly height-wise was against Lewis Taylor. Harwood with an opportunity off the left boot, screws it back, Green waiting, but it's out of there by side bottom. And then Frost and Chris feeling it. Oh, could have been holding the ball. Did he have prior? Umpire says no.
Wasn't holding the ball, but he dropped it.
Well, incorrect disposal.
To right, Dan, the only time they've actually looked good today was that passage of play going through the middle of the ground. They were under enormous pressure, but at least they started trying to take the ball through the middle of the ground. At least there was something.
Walker and Robinson both to get it up. Bastanak trying hard, but they are being smashed where it matters at the moment. De Goey back to the wing. Pies looking to get another run on.
Yours, Moons.
His first touch for a few years, Moons. There is Adam Treloar. He's got off to a flying start to see. Yeah. All the major disposal winners are all Collingwood.
He's averaging 30 disposals a game. Adam Treloar, Beams, dropped it. Under severe duress right now. Robinson doing what he knows best, and that's getting in the thick of it and latching onto whoever he can. Blair was under it.
You can never question Mitch Robinson's attack at the ball and the opposition.
Only 2 players with 5 disposals or more for the Lions, and that's Robinson with 5, and Beams with 7. Beams has only had 1 kick, and most of those disposals were very early.
And that's recognition of how quick the defence is onto Dane Beams when he takes possession. He hasn't had time to get onto that damaging foot.
Free kick to Stephen Martin. Wants to give. Rich. Low ball to half forward.
What a kick. What a kick.
Beautiful delivery. Shaki gave to Zorko. Was ambitious because he had Pies left, right and centre surrounding him, and the ball is over.
You dream of kicks like that leading out. He was 70 metres away when he summed that up, Rich.
And that's why a lot of clubs actually go and try to lock down Rich so he doesn't get that kick. Yeah. It's a penetrating 55, 60-metre dart.
Yeah. But he identifies the target 70 metres away and knows that the lead's going to come 10 metres towards him by the time the ball gets there. What a weapon.
Zorko well restrained.
It's a tough one as a defender as well, because you think, ooh, that carried extra 5 metres up in stride here. You thought you were in the right spot.
Well, 22 minutes gone.
Side bottom off the back of the pack here.
Brisbane still yet to score.
Now to get it out of there. Let's see if they do it again. Side bottom will try and scoot out. Just stay as a sweeper out the back of the pack on the right there. They'll win 1 or 2 possessions and just look to feed it back to him if they get a hold of it. It's a surge forward.
Blair and now Treloar again to try and get them running off half back. De Goey's follow-up was good. And it's more, in fact, it's young Crocker in the pocket. Crocker, his first goal in AFL football, can celebrate.
And we spoke pre-game about how defensive 50 transitions against Collingwood has been a big stat against them. This time it was against Brisbane Lions. They ran the ball extremely well. It was like a rugby backline spread there. They had a number of players. What a great finish around the body for the young fella. Crocker had a couple of steps and flushed that straight across the middle pretty much of the goals at full pace.
Young man in his second game, came through the Oakley Chargers. He's a massive Collingwood fan. I think a neighbour of Scotty Burns when he was growing up. So that would have been keeping an eye on one of his Collingwood heroes.
That's a great story then.
31 points the difference. It's not a great storyline at all for the Brisbane Lions. They are staring down the barrel here. They're meant to be much better at home. They usually are. This has been an horrendous opening quarter. Outstanding play by Collingwood. Howe in the air, they're controlling all aspects of the game. Brisbane need to land something in this opening quarter. Not looking much like it yet. Walker, Taylor and then Bell. Kick to half forward. Shaki was in the middle of the frame but couldn't take the mark.
How clever was Pendlebury? Then he waited till he got spun 360 degrees.
Followed up again. And on the counter, they are killing them. Blair for Solo, he can sense it. 60 metres out and closing. Close enough for Solo, but he just misses. And that's 12 scoring shots to nothing.
And again, that inside 50 count has come back. Brisbane have got a few insides over the last 5 minutes, but it's 19-7. So 12 scoring shots to zip.
That's the easiest kick out they've had so far out of all 8.
Well, at least it breaks a few things up. But again, Doesn't look square. Did not look square once to see if there was an option to switch.
Leicester just bangs it down the line. Well represented Brisbane in the air. That's on. What was Rich trying to do there?
Now, that cannot be a tactic to continually bomb the ball long down the wing. That is just your last resort. We're in trouble. Let's go long. There's no intent. They're not trying to switch the ball to the far side.
The one thing I will say, when they do get someone side on when they're in their back line on a static play, it's nearly always Sauce Merritt. You don't want to be kicking the ball to him either.
No, that's right. With respect to Big Sauce, he needs to be the decoy.
Yeah, but he knows what he's built for and made for, and deft skills out of the defensive 50 is not part of that role.
That's part of this man's role, though. Pendlebury with those skills, utilising them again to Smith, and Crocker might get another chance.
That's what I think we've also got to give a little bit of credit to as well, guys, is the way Collingwood are defending. They're pushing up really high. Their defenders pushing right up in the middle of the ground. But as you said, Dern, they are zoning, but they also really look close to a one-on-one team at the moment. So they're defending so well that they're making Brisbane just basically have to go down the line every kick.
This is an absolute nightmare for Justin Leppich.
Good strike.
Oh,
yeah. And it could be worse. That's the only thing, because 13 scoring shots to nothing represents, well, it could be 50 or so points. Instead, it's only 33.
You do the maths. Straight out again.
Mace. Howe at the back, and there's a good strong mark to Shaq. He's just looking a bit more and more confident in terms of getting into the marking contests.
Well, there we go. There's one switch. Now, you're right. Big Roger's got to run away.
Harwood emerging, and Clay Beams is the target on the way out. Crocker a little over-exuberant, perhaps.
Now, at least now it's too slow. They don't get an option, so it's going to be bailed. They should go back the other way again. Now, Big Roger's there at centre half back. Use him.
Instead, it's Beams.
Well, this is the first time since round 1, 1993, that Brisbane haven't scored a point in the first quarter. Wow. And it was the Bears versus Fitzroy back then.
I've got to say, there's some tough days the Bears endured. But this is not good at all. Of course, if you're a Collingwood fan, it's fantastic.
Yeah, great signs for Collingwood. Using the ball well, defending well.
He's got no targets.
No, Beams just bereft of genuine options.
Leicester has to go.
Kicked it in hope more than anything. Can they score in 15 seconds? And we're down to basically 12 seconds as we get underway.
You've called it a few times and you said there are no options. There is no one providing an option. And so, I mean, Josh Shackey's just a young kid in his first season, so you shouldn't just leave it up to him, but there's someone has to present up the line.
Oh, they might get a chance to score here through Stephen Martin.
Got a little shove. I reckon he's put a reasonable amount of mayo on that as well, Big Steph, but he will have a shot.
So clock will count down and expire, you would think, for the opening term.
Come on, Lynchy. Raid him.
I think this will go at the left post.
Whatever gave that away.
Left goal post, I think. It'll just...
That's his career shots from this area.
Just inside left post goal.
And he's pulled it left to the far side.
So, Stephen Martin. Oh, it's not going to score. And the horror opening term is complete for the Brisbane Lions. Well, they're going to try and be positive. Surely it can't get any worse. Nathan Buckley, he won't be taking anything for granted right now, but he'd have to be proud of the performance of his team in the first quarter. They lead by 33 points. Brisbane not even on the scoreboard. Well, what a contrast in the camps. Collingwood would be delighted with their effort in the first quarter. 13 scoring shots to nothing, 20 inside 50s to 9, and after the week they've had, Nathan Buckley would be thrilled so far, but he certainly won't be stopping. He'll be relentless. This man, I don't know what he'll be thinking, Lynchy. Justin Leppich, he must be shattered with what they've put up, but obviously he's not thinking about that now. He's thinking, how can they get out there and turn this around?
Well, obviously they're not following the game plan because it looks so predictable and so basic off halfback, just long down the line, and we see some of the numbers here. The game's been played in the forward half for Collingwood, 68%. and contested possessions. Week in, week out, this is a massive concern for the Brisbane Lions, and then that results in the inside 50s. They're plus 11 Collingwood, so dominating that stat. 13 scoring shots to nil, and Collingwood should be much further in front. So it's only 33 points of difference. I don't think Brisbane have much chance from here, but Collingwood have left the door just ajar.
For me, the game's the time in the forward half for Collingwood, because when the Brisbane Lions get it, they've just been denied of any target, any easy target coming out.
Let's hear from Robert Harvey. He's with Moons.
Well, Harves, you will absolutely love to bottle that first quarter up. That was fantastic the way they just won the ball. Particularly their defensive press I thought was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's lifted. I mean, it started in the midfield. Our midfielders got to work, got their hands dirty. Would like to finish their work a bit better, but it's better footy. I mean, that's what we're after, and we're just going to challenge us to do that for another 3 quarters.
Good on you, Harves. Thanks, mate.
Oh, what a superstar Robert Harvey was, and it must be tough watching for these players like Scotty Burns and Robert Harvey and Nathan Buckley to see the way their teams performed in the past few weeks, but much better effort tonight.
Yeah, they'd be very, very happy with the way they've started. As he said, the reward hasn't been there on the scoreboard, so they've got to tidy that aspect up. Brisbane will throw everything at this second quarter. They've got a rocket there from Lepper at quarter time. They'll respond. I'm sure Collingwood are ready for that.
Enjoying the occasion, young Smith. Up against Dane Zorko.
And we're off and running, starting with a free kick against Grundy. Going to Stephen Martin. Now, can they generate something out of this? He's gone wide, try and open up the angle. Mays, forwards hold their lead in their position. Oh, chopped off by Smith. There's an obstacle for Zorko, Pendlebury, and they get involved again through Howe. Christensen, 100 him down. Maynard, Smith, Howe, lots of handballs, but even though they weren't travelling too far, they were controlling the footy.
Again, once they get the ball in their hand, they've got that composure to hit targets.
Greenwood.
Gee, ran hard there. Greenwood from the other side of the ground, just to be that little link dab kick forward.
Levi Greenwood goes short.
Jared Blair gets free up the line, but
he's still free.
To Goey.
He's still free.
Prefers Jesse White, and here he
finally.
is. Blair takes the mark. Cox pushes back to the goal square. Fasolo is coming up as an option.
But how didn't a Brisbane player actually see that? He was standing there.
They were in
the
grid.
Forward half.
They were in grid, and they thought, oh, we'll be able to get to that.
They're in grid asleep.
Oxley, the dabbing pass. Oh, Moore got to the right place at the right time.
He saw.
Side bottom was outstanding, and De Goey just couldn't capitalise.
Buick got one on the melon on the way through then.
Just gets a little clip from, I think it might have been Moore.
But even the work rate there, Dermot and Lynchy, like just the big gap for Moore to run into, and nobody wanted to go and stand there. Everyone could see that. That's where exactly the ball was going to go.
Oh, Howe flew in the air and then did good grunt work at ground level. I was optimistic that it was out.
That's right, Moons. You normally see a fair indication of your work rate when the opposition have got the ball. I think tonight we're even seeing a huge indication of Lions' lack of work rate when they've got the ball. There's no options being supplied. Another free kick here.
Ruck Lotto continues.
It's always interesting when both ruckmen look around and think, well, which way is that going to go?
He didn't seem to complain too much that time, Stephen Martin.
Yeah, he's on it. That's 15 gone, Brody. Your line's right.
Exhausted, Steph Martin. I'm sure he's not right. He just hasn't looked right since he came back from the round 4 clash from Stephen May.
Well, he never came back, did he? Because he never went away.
No, that's right.
Didn't get a rest.
So Brodie Grundy. Oh, he's skied the kick. And it's way left. So they continue to pepper the goals, but 4-10-34 and becomes 4-11-35.
This will tell us how they receive instructions at quarter time. Once again, they do play straight lines out of the back line, though.
Oh, how! We got used to that in the Melbourne jumper and just becoming accustomed to it for the Pies. Oh, it's for something. Oh. It doesn't matter. Cox controls the air.
And how good is that for the future and Collingwood fans? They would be pumped to see this big 6'11" giant from the US. That is a really good mark.
Derby, you've got to love the stare down after he marked it. Just watch the replay here to Merritt.
He's turned around and glared him, did he? Oh, he did too! Fantastic. Is that well picked up, Moons?
So for his second goal, Big Mason, Cox, dead straight, right through the middle. Pies continue to dominate.
They're pretty happy, the Pies forwards there, with Jesse White celebrating. So that is great, because you need your ruckman to be able to go forward and take a mark. And have a look at this leap. That leap first from Jeremy Howe. That's what we like to see week in, week out. He used to take the mark of the year, but look at this.
What Moon said. Now he looks down at Source Merritt and gives him the, what are you doing down there?
What are they doing there?
Is that the Bryan brothers, is it?
I don't like that. I'm not so big on that hop jump.
Nah, I don't know about that one.
A little bit of that American stuff creeping in.
A little bit of Joe Tex bumping.
But if you're going well, we might as well celebrate it.
Straight up, block, Brisbane.
Oh, see, there we go. Ruck Lotto continues.
Well, Steph Martin thought it was against him.
Once again, fans out on a 45.
Oh, well done, Tuvey. He played the footy on his own terms.
And just played off.
But they did that last time they won it out of the centre, and they've gone for the same technique again, fanned out on a 45, and Tuvey just says, well, it's happened once.
Oh, they're spinning their way through, getting into the clear. Treloar, the latest to line up. And they can line up, they just can't knock them down at the moment, the Pies.
And that's just the thing that is stopping Adam Treloar being one of the real elite midfielders. Like, the way he goes about is first class, and he is close to that level, but just doesn't finish his work off by foot.
Just kicked the 2 goals for the season so far, but is averaging 30 disposals a game. Now, the Lions, we need to see some system from them out on the wing. Keys, that was a good no-look handball. Green, he knew what he had up his sleeve. Bell tosses it up. Oh, the old P and the whistle didn't work too well. He maybe hesitated. And Shaki was actually going to mark it. Oh.
Too slow.
Yeah.
Just a junior. He just didn't recognise the urgency required on that occasion.
And here we go on the counter.
A 3-on-2 here. They'll run this all the way up.
For Solo, looking to see what he had, and it was Moore as the best option. To DeGoey, the next step. Into the pocket. It bounces up nicely to accommodate DeGoey, and he misses. And are they trying to keep Brisbane in the game here? That's what it looks like. 5 goals, 13.
Well, Brisbane just string 3 quick goals together, and they're well and truly back in. I mean, this
just the 3 quick goals.
That's going to be easier said than done with their work rate at the moment, Lynchy. They are really poor on the defensive end. It is really poor just sitting down here watching it.
Oh, you're right. Spot on, Moons. This is the worst they've worked for I can remember.
There is no care, there is no communication, there is no nothing down here when they don't have the ball.
Oxley tries out for Solo. Side bottom from the pocket.
Come on, Lynchy. I'd like Brisbane Lions just to string 3 scores together.
3 inside 50s.
Points.
Well, that's
maybe a goal, anything.
Lepper's frustrated there. He's gone past getting cranky at the moment because this is deplorable.
So they wait. And wait no longer. Cox for Solo trying to spin through with the footy. Rich. Hack it out of there, but you know it's most likely to come back.
So the thing for me is Brisbane have had their exit out of their defensive 50 game completely taken away from them, and they don't know where to turn to.
Frost with the central ball. Treloar to go. He's worn one.
Tom.
Well, there's a bit of frustration there, and Treloar will have a shot, and they're just coming in to remonstrate.
Now watch him jump into his back and go side on. That can never be anything but injury or free kick or both.
Not sure what he was thinking. If this goes well, what the result is going to be for me. As
what's the upside of that one?
Yeah, that's right. Treloar needs to convert.
Already getting so much of the footy. There's a goal to his name. This for a second.
Good kick.
No mistake that time. Nurses it through, and the Pies lead has expanded to 49.
And that is a nice finish from that free kick from Adam Treloar, and he's just having a great season here. Again, that Tom Bell free kick here, just late, bumped, just had to have the fist up and try to punch the ball. And Adam Treloar went back and slotted that one through. He's going along very nicely. So that's his 13th disposal. He's kicked 2 goals, 2. So the 4 scoring shots for the gun recruit for the Pies. He's had a fantastic season since he's crossed from GWS. Well and truly on his way to his first Copeland Trophy.
Stephen Martin slapped it into the space. Treloar, another disposal. Smith versus Bastanak. Pushing hard, Oxley. Eventually got it under his command, then it slipped away. Bell, who owes them one. You can see he's agitated. Plenty of words exchanged with Josh Smith. Cox and Martin take their place. Martin stumbled, recovered. And now Greenwood on the march through the middle again. Merritt read that well. Got to the front, but the ball is still alive for the Pies. White, well, he skied that one. Beams tracking it back. Oh, Moore came from nowhere to get involved and then patted it out for Greenwood. And right across the face, but again, they can set up here and just lock it away.
29 inside 50s to 10. This is actually farcical at the moment. 19 scoring shots to zip.
There's two great efforts there from Moore, though. The first one where he got to Merritt, make sure they got that one to the ground, and then got back inside 50 to make another contest.
Oh, Jesse White, golden opportunity. Blair! Snaffled another one.
Look, things can go wrong in a game, but now the vision of this is excruciating. This is, well, look at the run through here. That's just, you can drive the Orient Express through there and there's no tracks in there. And the second player comes through there. Just, wow.
No defensive sweeper in place. And Blair comes through, toes it through. Everything is going wrong at the moment. They're doing a lot right, the Collingwood Footy Club.
You mentioned the Orient Express, Derm.
Oh, the train, yeah.
It's murder on the Orient Express at the moment. 55 points the margin. Brisbane have not scored. It's astonishing.
They've one shot that didn't score from Steph Martin on the quarter-time side.
That was a free kick.
There it is. They're doing really well. Getting the clearances. Don't want to focus too much on Brisbane for obvious reasons. They're doing a lot right, Collingwood. Again, this man, who hit a target.
And he does. Jesse White.
Now, he hasn't had the accuracy happening yet, Jesse White, but he's timing them pretty well off the boot. So I dare say he's going to be kicking from about 52, maybe 53. The man on the mark will be 49. So about 52 metres. And he's actually been getting the journey.
He's been showing good urgency. And now needs to go back, as Derm said, and convert.
Make your approach.
One behind so far tonight for Jesse. He's confident from 51 metres, and that's White. Just slots it calmly through, and the Pies just continue to build.
Well, Jesse White will be pretty happy. He's played some good minutes so far tonight, been in and out of the side, playing down back in the twos as well. But look at talk about the composure with ball in hand for the Brisbane Lions has been poor. The class of that man, we've seen it the best part of a decade or over a decade now. That's just a nice little 15, 20-metre pass. Lace out. No defence there, really, to make an impact or even block up that space.
The Lions are a defender short. Sauce Merritt just wanted the handover then, and he wanted to stay back for the long one. There was another player he had to go to. That's a high tackle on Robinson. And he delegated somebody to go and chase out Jesse White. No one did. They're one defender short.
Yeah, and that Harris Andrews out with that stress fracture in his foot. He's a big out. He's only a kid, but he leaves a hole.
Well, we're looking for a response here from Brisbane. You can see Mitch Robinson was trying to do that from the centre bounce, drew a free. Came unstuck, but they're going forward again through Rich, and that's a penetrating kick and a good one. Keys got to the right spot, takes the mark, ponders what to do next inside the 50. Nothing really obvious, so just up to the top of the square. Pies knew it was coming. Oh, good mark, beautifully read from Zorko.
Well, Leicester had the early jump then, but it was a realistic attempt. But what he did do was ground everybody and drag the attention with him, and just in the same way that players used to be able to take their opponent under the ball.
Yeah.
He ended up taking the pack under the footy here. They all go to him.
Very untidy, but he got the result.
Yeah, Possum came over the back and tried to spoil him as well, but the ball cleared them all. They're on the board.
And thankfully, from a Brisbane point of view, it's on with a goal. It's taken a quarter and 13 and a half minutes. Justin Lepage unmoved. He needs another 10 of those piled on unanswered to get interested in what his team's produce. It's been horrendous, but that was much better.
Yeah, so the good centering kick there. It's a 1-on-3, and Zorko reads the flight of the ball over the back. Pretty standard. You wouldn't want to base your forward craft on that scenario, though, Lynchy.
That goal and that forward 50 pack that formed wasn't out of the textbook, but it will certainly work just to get just an ounce of confidence.
Martin goes with the flow, tries to get the tap down. Robinson also trying to track it, but had to be careful not to give away the free. Blair influenced, and then Pendlebury and Treloar, and now for Solo. Well chopped off by Mitch Robinson, digging deep here for the Lions. Sent him on their way with Bell. Got some options down the line, Stephen Martin. Pumps the big Polly Farmer handball, but Maynard was able to read it. And good comeback from Martin.
Well, the ball hangs in the air for about 1.5 seconds, a handball that long. So the player has to stand there. The opposition are going to cover 10 metres in that time, and it's not as if it's a mark and you can say, get back off me, this is mine. That's a push.
Maynard came a cropper, and it was a good spot to get injured. That's the only thing you can say. He only had a couple of metres to get off the ground and get some treatment from Dr. Chris Bradshaw, but let's hope he's okay. Ooh, double fist, and he could have marked it, maybe not aware of what was around, or the lack of what was around. Green, gone.
Ayres has had a dirty night. Green back into the side after a few weeks out with that rib complaint. Just the one touch.
Taylor Adams to the square. Standoff there with Moore. Jesse White's got a taste for it. Side bottom. Buick scrambles a kick for Solo versus Walker. Good commitment from both players there, and I reckon that was out. Maynard really is.
Yeah, this smother here across the knee. Hopefully it's just a contact injury.
Hopefully, yeah. Oh, he's grabbed that.
At least he was in the air, though, and the leg wasn't planted.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of give in it.
For Solo, Treloar as they wind up again. Crisp, about to be attended to. Went super short, that could be high.
For Solo's down as well in back play.
Adams to Pendlebury to Howe. Forced to use the left, didn't complain. Here's Crocker, kicked a goal, he's first in the opening term. It's not his best work. Howard, and that's high. Beams.
Yeah, just went a little high there. Good attack, aggressive tackle, but he didn't quite execute it properly. Fasolo up and going now.
The very best teams in the comp right now with this ball are looking to go across the face.
Yeah, we've rarely seen this. It's about the third occasion for the night, I would have thought.
Merritt by hand to Rich. He's got Buick as the obvious option. Not perfect, though. He gets the bounce to accommodate reasonably.
He's put himself onto his non-dominant foot.
Yeah. Now, look, it hasn't worked, but now you go back the other way.
He could have immediately gone the other way. Rich goes searching. Varco arrived late. Challenging kick, and well taken by Harwood. They can go forward of centre with some purpose here, the Lions. Dabbed out wide, and now it's Bastanak. And Zorko wasn't perfect. It hung a while in the air, but he was solid and takes the good strong grab.
Just explain to you, when Buick got that ball on the back flank, now they're having a shot now, that's fantastic. It's worked out for them. But if I'm a forward 80 metres beyond that, and I know my teammate, I look at Buick and think, he's going to turn onto his left leg, he's going to be under pressure, and so he's going to go down the line. I have to hit the spot 60 metres ahead of that at pace, and that's knowing your teammate. But he hasn't got the confidence to turn and shoot like that.
At least it's ended up in a goal for Brisbane. It's Zorko 2, Collingwood 8.
Well, there's 2 of those 3 goals I was talking about, Derm. They're fighting back here. But at least it was a bit scrappy, but they transitioned from one side, it didn't open up on the back of what you were talking about, and then came back to the other side. They had the short kick, uncontested mark options, and they were able to work the ball forward, and the little power forward up there.
Well, the Rich kick
gave an option.
The Rich kick through the middle opened it out, didn't it? And that had to be precise, and it was.
And it has been a bit better in the last few minutes. Obviously, the goals are obvious. They've kicked a couple, but it's looked a bit better.
Daniel Rich's kick into the centre of the ground, risk-reward. It was highly risky, but he's the type of player who can hit that type of kick.
Just a quick one, guys. Maynard back on Hutto. Sorry, seems to be okay.
That's good news.
Great
Blair
news.
to centre-half forward, screwing kick for White. Hard to control that for everyone. Harwood provides, well, not enough passage for his teammate, and Crocker able to pounce. Grundy.
Good kick.
Would have really hurt Brisbane to just get another one. Smart response like that.
I think they're already really hurt.
Well, they are, but...
Well, they're hurt, but the thing is, back-to-back goals, they've just got to fight it out, and you just never know where the game ends up.
The old Malcolm Blight rule, 3 quick goals.
Well, you want to get the next one. That's the thing. Get the next goal and see what happens.
He knew when to zig and when to zag there on the way out. And Robinson, well, he didn't. He scrapped the kick, and they've turned it over. And Collingwood is surging forward. To Goey, the focus, and he got the handball, released it well. More, it's a bit slippery, we know. Walking that fine line about not giving away the free, Gardner, and they've closed it out nicely. Oh, be careful not to give it away. Dane Beams, bit of lip coming from De Goey.
He'd be pretty frustrated. His second game against his old club.
They lost the first time. It was in round 1 last year.
He had 33 that night from memory.
Yeah.
Big night.
Adams trying to find that right boot, and he did. Speared the pass in. Wasn't to anyone in particular. Cox looking for his third. Oh, and he nearly got it.
Well, he is a soccer background. He might be 6'11 and a half, but he does have the soccer background, so he knew exactly the way he needed to angle that shot. Oh, he kicked it out the inside. He might be the most thinking man over 6'6" we've ever seen, ain't she?
Oh, I'll tell you, Steph Martin's one of those brilliant students.
Students, as a footballer, thinking on the field.
Yeah, right, fair point.
We'll push it out to 6'7", and that'll cover Steph.
It's a good touch by Mitch Robinson to get it out of bounds safely. Walker joins Grundy in the ruck. Smith was aggressive. He was charging forward. Just didn't take the Sharon with him. You can see the contest. Pendlebury gains a bit of yardage, and you know what Merritt will do.
Oh, the umpire said to pay it.
They've coached him.
He's coached the other umpire into it. Yep.
Now, and I don't mind that. We all know that's exactly what Daniel Merritt wanted. It was intentional run over the line, so that's fine. It's the ones where they're under the pump and kick it out of a pack that I don't like.
Umpire Scott Jeffrey, the senior officiating umpire tonight.
Fasolo chased it up and hits Greenwood right in front of goal.
We'll celebrate the unbelievable kick, but what about the defence? How can you see? He's 30 metres out, dead in front of goal, and there's no one near him. That is extraordinary. But great play and nice pass from Fasolo.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been an easy year for Levi Greenwood. We know he was struck by injury last year and first season with the Pies. But, it's been tough going for them all. He's left that one away to the left. He'll be dirty on himself for that. 8-15-63 to 2 straight 12.
33 inside 50s to 13. That just continues to expand that gap.
Grundy, powerful through the air. What a mark. And the side bottom was waving vigorously at him to centre it. Instead, he goes long down to Cox. Harwood. Straight into the chest of Josh Smith.
Side bottom wants it down there.
No, he wasn't lacking in teammates saying, give it to me, give it to me.
Well, that's the thing. There was plenty of options there.
To Goey.
And they are creating options, and they're defending extremely well. Moon's touched on it before. They're holding the ball inside their 50. The repeat entries, something we spoke about pre-game, they don't do well. They get scored against from that area of the ground, but they've turned it around tonight beautifully.
Jordan De Goey. His disposal averages up from 14 to 18 last year to this.
but he doesn't look. He probably hasn't had the year's progression that we thought he might straight away. It's only good signs tonight. It's only his second
24th game.
I know, but he raised the bar very early in his career last year, didn't he?
Should we check the footies? It's a pretty good night, and just the ball won't go straight.
You won't find many lion fingerprints on it if you do check it.
That's right. Good point.
Grundy down to Crisp. He winds up to the square again. Cox, yes, yes,
Oh, he's
yes!
And Sauce has given it to him, but he's gold.
Outside the obvious with his height, but he is a very dangerous option forward. He is stretching the defence, and see he's got Darcy Gardner here, and when I was Paparone, takes a mark. Probably you were talking about the smartest football. He played on, nearly got it smothered, but great work. Really good to see the big American playing such good footy and copping a bit of attention, because he is a very dangerous forward at the moment.
3 goals to Mason Cox.
For all the stats that are available, the what are they, minus 19 for inside 50. There's the contested marks. They are 54 possessions ahead of the Brisbane Lions, and we're still 5 minutes away, or the best part of it, from half-time.
59 points is the gap. Brisbane out of the middle. Well, not out of the middle. Crisp took it after some heavy-duty work from Taylor Adams. Low ball. Rich had his eye on that. Sends it out to the wing. But he's tossed it right in the air and side bottom. Easy fodder for him.
Yeah, very predictable. Panic dump kick every time off halfback. Rarely using the 45-degree angle, 30-metre pass.
Frost. Down the line. A couple of one-on-ones. Robinson right in the mix for the Lions. Buick first to his feet. Merritt knew it was coming, but also knew he was going to be under all sorts of duress. Christensen did as well as he could just to get it out of their Beams. Had a look at it, and he's letting everyone look at him now as he slides over the fence, almost, and we'll have a throw in on the wing.
Yeah, good contest from Frost coming through there. Dane Beams, 13 disposals after coming back after several months on the sidelines. Had 31 from memory last week against Port Adelaide.
Well, Robinson put their head down and the umpire knew it.
And the umpire determined that he's turned the head in to get contact. And that's fair enough. That's not a free kick. Modern football, we don't want to...
It's almost holding the ball, really, isn't it?
We don't want to encourage players to put their head down.
Drove
like
it.
Yeah.
And his kick chopped off by Adams, who's doing some nice things. And setting up his team on the run again. Oxley. Just tossed it up to half forward. Crocker. Harwood. Crocker. Had 2 to beat in the end. Over the top, Oxley came flying through. Missed the lot, and now the Lions are able to escape. Labour intensive as it is, they've managed to maintain control of the footy. Zorko.
They've shuffled down the line, so it means that side bottom is having to mind Josh Shackey at the moment, but they can't identify the target and get it to him.
No, they're far too slow. Yeah. Frost is going to have time to get back.
Leicester tries to hit up Christensen. He wears one. Wants to keep moving. Sets it up into the pocket again. Shackey got a run at it. Tries to claim it as it hits the front of the pack, and it's go for the Pies. Blair as they swing into action down the middle. Crisp, and now the Chargers onto the Light Brigade. Adams with 2 bounces. A desperate handball as it was getting away from him. Moore kept it going. It's a procession of possessions down the middle of the Gabba, and it's Ben Crocker to finish it off for the Pies, and he's done it.
Great work from deep defence, and there's a little bit happening off the ball there. But once again, it was...
Another free, Lecce. Another free against Dane Zorko.
No, I think it's a Brisbane free kick.
Ah, right, so it's the retaliation.
But from this transition started with Cox getting back into that space and didn't take the mark, but a really good contest in front of Shackey, and then away they went. They're running harder, spreading harder, and this is basically typical of the night, really. Collingwood working much harder than their opposition. And there's a free kick here that happened after the goal. This is the free kick here. Dane Zorko gets that one. It's against Moore. And so it will come from the centre of the ground. Steph Martin will take it.
It's not a great look when you come from behind to do that.
Mitch Robinson blasts away to full forward. Shackey and 4 pies. Treloar. They clamber all over him. Green trying to get something going. Bell knows only one way. Green onto the boot. Quick smart. They needed the bounce to go their way. Good heavy work by Leicester. It's a goal.
Let it go, Ryan. Thank you.
Well, that won't please Nathan Buckley. I mean, young Moore, who's been very good so far, like most of his teammates, gave that away, which put the ball into Brisbane's possession out of the centre, moved it forward, and from there on, they were able to possess the footy, win the footy, just grind out a goal. But it only went that way because of the free kick against young Moore.
And that's where they've really dominated every aspect. But the clearance is 23-11, so you don't want to give to a clearance. Josh Green back into the side. Looks like he's got a bit of padding on that the left chest, side of his chest, with that rib damage.
So at least they've managed 3 goals in this quarter, Brisbane. Hasn't really helped too much in their overall position in the game. Collingwood extending their lead to 59 points. Gardner trying to track it down with Fasolo. Good assistance from Rich, and they can move the ball forward through Robinson. Outnumbered down there, as they've been continuously, the Brisbane forwards. Good scouting of the pack, though, by Beams. Not perfect by hand, made life difficult for Hanley. And now Blair and Oxley.
Too high, Collingwood.
And they're getting a bit agitated with Buick after that. Pies players didn't like it too much. And while that goes on,
Oh, Josh.
Collingwood more intent on the footy. Varco hasn't had to do a lot so far.
No, that was good speed to find that space.
Just his 5th disposal. Brings him into the middle. Greenwood just settle.
Well, they got a mismatch. Grundy on Beams long.
Howe just trying to work all that through. Sinclair. Grundy's still just lurking in the pocket.
He's almost by himself.
Yeah, he's given up. No one's going to kick to me. Just go and jump myself. Centering kick. Robinson tried. Varco. Sublime skills when he's got the footy. What now surround goal he's got. You can mark another one down for the Pies.
Yeah, got involved on a couple of occasions in that scoring chain off half-back. Moved really well up to the cricket pitch or the circle. And here is front and centre. Knows where the ball's going to be if it is dropped. Good contest from Collingwood's forwards. And as we've seen over a number of years, he can sniff out a goal. Great around the body snap. Finished it off beautifully. And this is a really ugly scoreline at half-time. Pies dominating, 65 points up. Every aspect of the game well and truly in their favour.
65 points, 28 scoring shots to 3. It's a damning stat. You see the numbers that have been kicked from turnovers. And the siren ends. A wonderful half of football if you're a Collingwood fan. A much relieved Collingwood coach, I'm sure, Nathan Buckley, and players. The local fans are stunned and desperately unhappy with the performance of the Brisbane Lions in the first half. But the reality is Collingwood lead by 65 points, and it's only half-time.